Hi guys, welcome to Homeschooling on Mama's Bed. My name is Gwinnell, and if you are new here, I'm homeschooling my 7-year-old son, 2nd grade, and my 4-year-old daughter, pre-K. Today, I'm so excited to go over how my family is incorporating fall into our homeschool. Are you guys ready? Okay, let's go. So I had to do a lot of soul searching here because if you've taken any time on social media to see what other mamas are doing or dads for homeschool for fall, you will see so many things. You've probably been inundated with ideas and wondered, how on earth am I going to pick the right things for my family? What's best and what's not best? What's too much and what's too little? And what's just that sweet spot? I did a lot of soul searching to figure this out, and hopefully this video will help you figure out not necessarily what to do that I'm doing, but what's the best thing for you. And hopefully my video will inspire you as well. So I saw a lot of curriculum ideas, I saw a lot of art projects, I saw a lot of baking, I saw a lot of nature walks, I saw a lot of workbooks you could get, etc., etc. The list is just endless of how you can incorporate fall into your homeschool. And it overwhelmed me. And I had to step back and say, what am I passionate about? What do I love about fall? Because I do love fall. I love it a lot. And the reason I did that was very important because if parent is excited and teaching super happy and excited and full of life and ready to go, your kids are going to be happy and excited and full of life. They're going to be excited if you're excited. So here's what I love to do in homeschool. I love art projects and I love picture books. So that's it. That's all we're doing. And I find that with picture books, I'm actually not sad about that route for the educational portion of what fall does, the transition from summer to fall and such, and how nature prepares itself for fall. I find that picture books are a very beautiful and organic way to teach a concept because of the picture books and also the content. It's a lot easier to digest than just sitting and reading about things. And I know that worksheets can do the same thing, but I don't always have time to do those worksheets with my kiddos. But I always make time to do 20 minutes of read aloud time with my son on top of the curriculum we're already doing. And that right there was the issue. We have a very full plate of curriculum. We just don't have time for more curriculum, for more workbooks or worksheets. We have enough. But read aloud time, we schedule 20 minutes of that every single day, at least Monday through Friday. Saturday and Sunday is pretty iffy, but for sure, 20 minutes of read aloud time that either my son will do or I will do is always going to happen Monday through Friday. And then Sunday and Saturday, my husband or I will read to our kids to bed. So they're getting reading time, but it's not the same, you know? So anyways, with that being said, I already have a system in place for reading. Why not just make them fall books, you know? So that was a simple shoe-in. And then I'm already doing one art project a week with my children. Why not make them fall-based, you know? I could do additional ones for the fall season. I'm not limited to one a week, but I do try to keep them limited to one a week on a normal schedule just because it can overwhelm me to do more than one. But with a seasonal situation, of course, we can add more. You know, it's not an all the time edition. It's just an occasional edition, right? As a homeschooling mom, I get to decide that, right? It's in my hands what I do or don't do. And same for you. So if you feel like curriculum is the right way to go or a worksheet, great. Do it. That sounds fantastic. Every household is just going to be really different there, you know? Okay, without further ado, I'm really excited to show you the art projects that we have lined up and also the books that we've been able to read. So let's start with the books. Okay, so we have two categories here for our books. We have educational and we have story. And within the story, we have two more categories. We have silly story and just regular fun story. Okay, so I'm going to start with the story ones and then I'm going to get to our educational. For our silly stories, we have 4, and I'm going to start one at a time, and I'll do a little teeny tiny flip through. So we have you seen an acorn? Guys, this one is so cute. I'll just open up a couple pictures. This squirrel has lost his acorn, and it's really funny as he's trying to find it. These animals are trying to explain to him, have you ever considered that maybe you buried your acorn in the ground and then it's growing into a tree? So it's cute because it's explaining the process of growing a tree from an acorn, and the squirrel's just trying to figure out. He's not taking the time to really listen to their responses. So it's also teaching them how important it is to truly listen when people are talking. And in the end, he finds out that his acorn has been buried and it is now a tree. Next, we have Fall Fun. It is such a cute book. So something that's special about this one, it is not as silly as it is entertaining. So it'll have you like move the book in different parts. For example, you can see that there's water and there's a boat and they're trying to get the boat to go, but unfortunately it's flat. So they have you tilt this, they have you glow on pages to make leaves fall down. It's a really interactive, fun book. I highly recommend it. And last of the silly books is The Leaf Thief. This is kind of similar to the acorn, where it's a really silly situation and you learn how leaves fall in this book and just how it's a natural progression of summer to fall. It's It's really cute. This squirrel is very stressed about his leaves falling. So he goes to Birdie's house very stressed out, and he asks Birdie what's going on. And Birdie is very patient with him for the most part and explaining that this is normal, that nobody's stealing his leaf, that it's just the wind. It's a fun progression as well. So just a very natural, easy way to explain the progression of summer to fall. Part 2 of our story phase is just fun stories. Not necessarily silly, but fun stories. So first I'm going to start with this top one, which is Too Many Pumpkins. This is about a sweet old lady who grew up eating pumpkin, and she didn't like it because she had to eat it all the time. Money was low, and so she didn't like pumpkins. So interestingly enough, a truck comes by and dumps a bunch of pumpkins all over her yard, and it creates a huge mess. And she's like, I don't want anything to do with this. So she kind of just forgets about it for the most part. And eventually she ends up with a lot of pumpkins. She's not pleased about it. And so it's a fun progression of what she does and how she ends up serving a lot of people who could use the pumpkins. It's a really fun way to explain different things that you can do with pumpkins. Next, we have a princess story. This is called Fall Fun. My son didn't really love this one, but my daughter was all about it. There's lots of princesses used per page. It's a nice, short, younger reader. This is a really fun one. Next, we have Pete the Cat, Falling for Autumn. This is a really cute, fun one. If you've ever read Pete the Cat, you know these are really fun stories. So this one just kind of speaks for itself. Lastly, we have Little Critters, and this is a fall edition. It's really fun. If you have ever read Little Critters, I know I grew up on it. It's just a fun collection. And this is actually, I think there's 7 stories included in this one. So highly worth it. A bigger bang for your buck. This is a library book for me. So, but it's less books to reserve. And I don't know about your library, but I have a 15 hold limit. So when I'm reserving fall books and everybody's on the market for fall books, this is a better bang for your buck. That's what I mean by that. Okay, now we have our educational books. You guys ready? And our first category of educational books are meaningful story educational books, because there's some that just go over like the leaves change and this does this and this does this, and that's our second group. This one is more teaching life lessons out of fall situations. The first one I want to teach is How Many Seeds in a Pumpkin. This one actually was a recommendation from Math with Confidence. And in Math with Confidence, the reason they recommended it is because you're counting seeds. They're guessing which pumpkin is going to have more seeds, and then they each count the seeds by a different group. One counts by 2s, one group counts by 5s, and one group counts by 10s. It's still very much a story. It's really cute, and the teacher is such a genius as he's going over this. Like, you can still see the school board, and they're trying to guess. The teacher is really good at getting them to be engaging and making the experiment a fun experiment. So my son loved this, and he definitely wants to keep reading this one. So next is The Very Last Leaf. This is so cute, guys. It's a sweet little story about a leaf who's so scared to fall when it's fall time. He's passed all his other tests with flying colors, and he's really worried about the fall down the tree and what will happen. And this is a great educational book on emotional intelligence and emotional regulation. So if you're looking for something to help kids overcome their fears and work through things with confidence and with strength and bravery, this is a really great option. Along that line is Oak, the Littlest Leaf Girl. This is so cute, guys. I loved this when I was reading it. I just fell in love with it. Again, it's very similar to the leaf book I was just showing you about. This leaf is also afraid to fall, but it's a little bit more incorporating a family unit and a beautiful whimsical unit. This one I preferred much more than the last leaf. So sweet. And eventually she does decide to fall down the tree, and she just enjoys what comes next. This also goes a little bit into winter and a little bit into spring, but primarily this is all about fall. And this is one of my top favorite books. Okay, next is All About a Walnut. I love this story. It's quite close to home because it's about a boy who immigrated from Italy with his parents to the United States, and all he brought was a bag and a walnut, and he planted it in the ground and eventually showed his daughter how to plant one in the ground, and then eventually his granddaughter. And it's such a sweet story, such a beautiful way to explain how when we plant seeds, we can grow things, especially trees. And so here's the planting process. It's not as heavy of a fall story, but it does go over a harvesting unit. So one thing to note is this does eventually cover how her grandfather's getting old, and the reason that he gave her a walnut to plant was because he is about to pass. This is all it goes over to explain that death does happen, and it doesn't even say that. You just see the headstone, so the parent will know, but it's up to you to decide if you want to approach this subject with your child or not. And then the story just keeps getting even more beautiful, because then you get to go and you get to see the trees and how they eventually all grow. So this is her tree growing, and in the very end you get to see this is the grandfather's tree, this is the mother's tree, and then this is his granddaughter's tree. So it's really beautiful. I highly recommend this story. This was definitely one of my favorites. Okay, now we're going to get into our educational books. And first is It's Fall. Isn't it so cute? This is a little bit of a sillier educational one. It's still very much educational. And it also goes a little bit into Halloween as she's explaining all the things that she loves about fall. It's pretty cute. And let's go a little bit over and you'll see a little bit of a light Halloween unit in here as well. Next, When Fall Comes. This is one of my favorite educational books because the pictures are very beautiful and it gives a little bit of a different note to fall. It gives a little bit more of rivers and oceans, what happens to those creatures as well during the fall. But the pictures, guys, they're just so beautiful. Do you see that? Oh my goodness. It's so beautiful. This is my entire family's favorite educational book. Our second favorite is Fall Parade. And this one also has some really nice pages that are very beautiful, very well done. My son loved all the animals in them. He loved the foxes. They pay a lot of attention to the animals. This is a beautiful harvest moon, some birds. It's really beautiful. I highly recommend this one as well. The words are a lot less and simpler than, for example, When Fall Comes. So this would be a good book also for a younger audience as well, with great, beautiful art in here. Next, I actually went with Goodbye Autumn, Hello Winter. And the reason I did this one instead of Goodbye Summer, Hello Fall was because that one is just like makes it sad that summer's going away. And I'm not sad summer's going away. I'm so happy for fall. I don't love the high heat. I'm from a milder climate, now living in a more desert climate. So that being said, I'm excited for summer to go and I'm so excited for fall. And I actually found that Goodbye Summer is more about summer than it is about hello. When it says hello fall, it's not really that much about fall. Whereas this one goes over all the things that are going to go for fall and then very gently eases into like maybe 2 pages of winter. So I recommend this one also. So I'm getting all these books from the library. I maybe bought a handful of them because I was number 23 on the list to get them. Goodbye Summer, Hello Fall was one of them. So I actually listened to it on YouTube. They have read alouds there. And I was like, ooh, no, this is not worth buying. So I actually checked this one out, got way ahead because nobody's thinking to get this book right now. So I'll do this again next year because I know that I will get my hands on this copy. And we may even buy the Goodbye this season, Hello this season, just to have all 4 because they're really cool books. So I recommend this one for this time of year. And it is really beautiful. I'll do a really simple flip through. You can see it's still very much fall here. And it stays fall and it's saying all the things that happen during fall with, again, beautiful pictures. I love the pictures because the kids are going to learn more through the pictures than they are the words. They are going to hear the words and absorb them, but depending on their age, the pictures play a big role. And then it's only really, see, it's still fall and it's really only near the very end that it starts to become winter. So definitely a worthwhile book. Next is Harvest Moon. This gives a wonderful overview of what it might be like for different people and different creatures to experience a very bright harvest moon. It even gives different people with different jobs who might work even at nighttime what it would look like. This is a really, really cool book specifically on the harvest moon. And this is one of the only few ones that I've seen that actually does that. So it's Hello Harvest Moon. Next, we have Full of Fall. This is a really cute book. This is, again, more of a picture book with light words, and this focuses on the tree changing and on the leaves changing. So this one is pretty. You'll notice all of these books are educational. They're going over the changes of fall, which aren't that diverse, but it's just different ways to go about it, different kind of pictures, different kind of varieties. So these are all actual pictures. It's not an artist drawing them. So it's fun to just give that diversity and show different aspects of the fall educational side. That's why there's so many of them. So next we have Fall Seasons of the Year. And they actually have one for every season. So that's another one to get all of them of if you're going to go that route. This one is a little bit different because it goes over some extra things. The pictures are a little bit different than others. So I do think this one is definitely worth it. Check out if you're going to go the library route. It actually even goes over rainbows and it goes over spiders and what happens to them during the fall. And then this one goes over apples. So this one is a little bit different than the others. And I really enjoyed it. My kids definitely enjoyed this version of an educational fall book. So really cute. And lastly, we have My Autumn Book, and this is definitely geared for a much younger, so this would be my preschooler that we would be doing these for. Most of the books I try to go for 2nd grade and preschool, but this one is a little bit more geared towards my daughter, and that helps because there's a point where some of the bigger picture books my daughter checks out, and then these are best for my son. So this is one that's best just for younger kiddos. Okay, that is it for now. I have a bunch more that are on hold, and we are reading these and returning them, and I'm making lists. So stay tuned for my final list of our favorite picks, and then just a full list that you can pick between. And we have a rating system. 3 would be amazing book, we're gonna buy it. 2 would be we like the book, but we'll save it for next fall when we check it out. And 1 is not really interested. Thankfully, we haven't really had any ones. We've loved all the books we've checked out. It's just, are we gonna buy it or are we gonna check it out? So now we're gonna go to art. Okay guys, now let's go on to my art unit. So here's my art binder. If you've seen my planner flip through, I actually moved all of my art inspiration. Back here I have like Valentine's Day Pinterest boards that I printed out, and then actual crafts that we've done. I've saved for thumbnailing for next year. So now I'm going to go ahead and start with our fall units. The first fall unit that we did was actually Labor Day, and I chose to do a cute cotton field. So if you want to know a little bit more of how to do this, hop over to my Instagram, same handle, Homeschool and Mama's Bed on Instagram, and you can see how my kids put this together. It was really fun and really cute. Anytime we'll do an art project, I will likely have a video on Instagram that's short, concise, and just goes over how you can do it too. I try to go for things that have minimal prep, but I will give a warning if it has more prep. So this is a cotton field. I actually spent time living in Georgia, and the cotton fields are beautiful. Normally the stems would be black, but I just opted for green because it was a little bit more visually appealing to me. Totally up to your own discretion, but that was a good reminder for me for Labor Day. The point of a cotton field was to represent the labor that it takes to harvest a field. So that is what we learned from here. Next, if you've seen my Instagram, you know this one. This is a caramel apple that we made. So we cut out the apples, we glued on googly eyes. I drew this part, and I hot glued these and this stick on for the kids just for safety purposes. And I drew this on. I traced it in pencil, and then I drew it with a Sharpie. And here I had the kids use wet glue, and they did the squiggles. They glued on the caramel part that I'd cut out. You could have your kids do it. Because my kids are a little bit younger, I did a lot of the assembly, and they pretty much put it together. They did the glue, and they dumped on sparkles. A magic trick, if you've not heard of this before, is if you put wet glue on in whatever shape, say you wanted to do like an A, you were doing an A unit. So whatever it is that you want to design, do it in Elmer's glue, and then dump glitter or colorful sand on it, and then you just tap it like this to get it all off. I recommend doing it on a paper so that you can kind of fold that paper and dump the excess back in the container it came from. And so I did that, dumped it off, and then we just let it dry, and they had these cute caramel apples. The next craft that we are going to do is actually going to involve a tree. So I printed that out, super simple. And the inspiration actually comes from these two. So here, my kiddos are going to have the option to either take a clothespin and clasp it onto a cotton ball and dip that into paint, or they can do finger paint. But so they'll do it right onto here. And I printed it out in advance so that it would be all ready to go when it's time. And here's the rest of my fall inspiration. And so this all just came from Pinterest, and you'll notice there's a lot more ideas here for my Halloween and Thanksgiving, and I'm not going to go too much into that because those will be their own videos. There's a lot more inspiration there than here because over time, as I was working on the boards, I got more and more ideas, and I'm actually going to even update these ones because I have even more ideas, not necessarily that will all get done this year, but they are there to prep for future years, and this binder is going to prepare me for so long to come so that when the season comes up, I just pull it up and I say, hey kids, here are some ideas. And I picked ones that I was passionate about. Remember why we pick things we're passionate about? So that our kids will pick up on that passion. So I picked ones that I thought were cute. And my kids will just say, hey, I want to do this one, or I want to do this one, or I want to do this one. And then that's how we do it. Okay, that is it for art. Super simple, super easy. That's what I prefer, easy and simple. And I actually have them pick the art project they want to do when I'm doing my weekly planning so that I know when I need to start prepping for it and how much time I need. If it's a bigger project and I need to prep for it in advance, even the day before, I usually prep for it day of. But if I need more time to prep, then I know. I have them pick which craft according to which season we're in, what holiday we're going over, what bank holiday is coming up, and that's usually how we get our craft in. And so I already geared that to crafts to be designed towards holidays. That's already how I had envisioned doing holiday and seasonal units. And adding the books was just kind of a lovely addition. And I'm sure there will be more ways I will happily update you guys on as they go. But guys, that is it. Okay, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to how we incorporate fall into our household. I cannot wait to see what you guys end up deciding to do. If you've already done things, please comment below what you've done. I can't wait to hear all about it. And do remember to hop over to my Instagram to see the videos of the books that we are doing. I do post videos specifically showing the books that we're reading. Since the list that I gave you is not complete yet, I do have more books coming, so stay tuned for that. And also hop over to my Instagram to see the arts and crafts that we do. I'm so excited to see everything you guys are doing. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, bye-bye, guys.